Good day to you. This is teacher LELAND Alejandro, and we will continue with the domain and range, but this time we're going to use absolute value functions. Absolute value functions. All right, so let's use some examples to discuss it. We shall use the screen with a graph right here. Okay, so let's start with the very basic. So let's encode it. This is y is equal to absolute value x there. And you can very well see the graph. You can very well see the graph here. All right, we shall determine the domain and range for this absolute value function. Okay, just observe the graph. You can do this graphing manually by using a graphing paper and a straight edge writing material like pencil, ball pen, okay? And then you compute manually for each point, okay? For each point. Now remember, an absolute value returns always positive value. So you can see there are no negative values down here, okay? And that means we can readily see the range, possible range. And we can actually see the input values, okay, which is actually very clear, all possible values of x. So if you're going to determine its domain, okay, and you can see this is y is equal to absolute value of x, okay, the actual equivalent of this is something like this. In most books, you can see it this way, y is equal to absolute value of x. It's like this, okay? In symbols, of course, the two vertical bars. All right, now how about its domain? Okay, the domain for x is the set of all real numbers, of course. You can see left and right and no limit, okay? So this will be the set of all real numbers. So this will be a set of all real numbers there. And how about the range? Okay, you can look at your graph and like what I said, it starts with 0, okay, up to some higher positive value. So that will be, all right, this will be y should be equal to greater or equal 0 there. So it's greater or equal to 0. So negative numbers are excluded there. So this will be for the first example. Okay, let's have some variations, all right? So remember, this will not always be this graph, okay? All right, let me vary the given. And let's start by clearing the board, okay? All right, so, okay, let's say our given is y equal to absolute, of course, absolute of x, and say we elevate it somewhere. So say +3 there. Okay. Now, from this graph, you see, all right, still the domain is clearly all the possible values of x, or the set of all real numbers for x. But then our range starts from +3 or higher, okay? You can see it starts here, 3, okay, or higher, okay, positive values, higher than 3. And it can no longer go lower than 3, okay? So we can now determine our domain and range. All right, for this function, y is equal to absolute value of x, and this is +3 there. Okay, for this one, our domain will be a set of all real numbers. You can see it from the graph, all possible values of x, okay? Left to right, from -infinity to 0 to all positive values, okay, are possible to be input for this function. But then our range is restricted to 3 or higher, okay? Our range is restricted all right, that is represented by y, all right, it's 3 or higher. So this will be greater or equal 3 there. All right, I hope you were able to understand this. Okay, can we have negative values for a given equation or function? Can we have? Of course, we can have something like that too. All right, let me cite an example. Okay, this will not always be positive. That depends on the numbers or parts there, all right, in your given function. For example, let's clear this one. All right, let's start again with another. Okay, let's say we have something like this. And this is a -2, like that. Okay, you can see your graph now, all right? Still, we have for the domain all values of x, okay? The set of all real numbers, okay? But then our range is restricted from -2 or higher, okay? From -2 or higher. So this is how to get your domain, all right, and range. Now, how come we have a -2 there? Although this this is only absolute value function. Well, it's because of this -2. After you compute some value of x, you have to add a -2 there, or you have to subtract a 2. And that's why your graph starts here. And that happens in an input x of 0, okay? So with a 0, the result of the function is -2, there. Okay, so this will be the domain and range for this particular given equation. All right, let's start with domain. Of course, this will be the set of all real numbers. And then we determine our range. And it's very easy to see. Okay, it is restricted at -2 or higher. So our range, that will be y, okay, higher or equal to -2. There. Okay, all right. So you can also use the symbol y greater equal -2. Okay, and that's the only it's something that I cannot write here. I have to write it manually, all right? So you can also do it this way for the range. This is y greater or equal -2, there. And your range is this. How about the domain, okay? This is the range, okay? How about the domain? The domain is actually like this. X and you have there the positive infinity, and here is the negative infinity there. Okay, all right, okay, so this is the domain, all right, this is the domain, and this is the range. Okay, all right, so that's it for our example. We can have some more. Okay, just one last example for you to see. All right, let's say we do something like this. Y is equal to absolute of x, and then we have something like +3, and say we have a +2 there inside there. Okay, this is the graph of that particular absolute value function, and you can readily see the domain, okay, and the range. Okay, the domain is the set of all real numbers. Okay, no restriction for x, but the range is only from positive 3 or higher. So you can make use of your domain here. Okay, this is domain. And of course, it will be the set of all real numbers. There. You can very well see it from the graph. Okay, no restriction for x. Okay, all negatives, all positives, including the 0, possible input for x. Now for the range, the possible values of y, okay, that will be the range. And we are restricted from 3 or higher, okay? So this will be y greater or equal to 3. Yeah. Okay, so that will be it for our absolute value functions. I hope you will be able to do your domain and range for given absolute value functions. And this will be all for now. And see you later. Bye-bye.